into the specifics of why would these two prominent brands acquire each other and form an alliance. First, let's start off from the e-commerce tycoon of Amazon. Much details could be derived from Amazon's core tactic of operation. The company's generic corporation strategy can be described as concentric diversification. This strategy is based on the leveraging of technological capabilities for a business to success and following a cost leadership strategy, which means to establish a competitive advantage by having the lowest cost of production in the industry to offer maximum value for its customers. This strategy is paid off well, as you can see from the fact that it's the world's largest online retailer and has constantly been the leader in the market segments in which it operates in. As Bezos is saying to the customers, I'm going to make you an offer you can't refuse. Ever since its inception, Amazon has been engaging in merger acquisition. In the beginning, Amazon engaged in congenic mergers with like-minded internet companies like IMDb, Lifebit.com, Accepted.com, and Alexa Internets. Companies that are beneficial to internal operations and consumer distance, which is the infancy of its now matured strategy. Amazon seems to be acquiring companies in each industries whenever they want to enter one, and incorporating them into its subsidiaries. At first, acquiring online sellers of books in the United Kingdom and Germany when they started international operations in 1998. In the following years, it began selling video games, consumer electronics, home improvement items, software, games, and toys. And oh boy, did they merge with companies in these industries one by one in the coming years. Now, Amazon is taking over these following industries: home improvements, business lending, industrial supplies, pharmaceutical industries, and cloud computing. The pharmaceutical industry is it's interesting because it's by acquiring Whole Foods and some drugstores like Walgreens and CVS, which are prominent brands in the U.S. Well, Metro Goldwyn Mayer, it's a leading lead entertainment company focused on the production and global distributions of film and television content. It may not be a renowned brand or even an easily pronounced one for customers, but the rolling golden lion in every opening of movies and the Looney Tune cartoons you watched as a kid certainly bring back memory. An MGM library has about 4,000 films and 17,000 hours of television, with prominent franchises like The Handmaid's Tales, James Bond franchise, the Rocky franchise, and Pink Panther, just to name a few. But the glory days of MGM is nothing but behind them. After founding, it bloomed under the golden age of Hollywood during the period of the 20s to the 60s, with classics like Wizard of Oz credited as the first PG films. The company also underwent great success between the 70s and 80s. The growth of MGM has stagnated and even fallen. Everything came crashing down in the financial crisis of 2008. As of mid-2009, MGM had about 3.7 billion US dollars in debt. Their interest payments alone totaled 250 million a year. Even though MGM was earning approximately 500 million a year on income from an extensive film and television library, the economic recession is reported to have reduced its income substantially. After reorganization and bankruptcy in 2010, MGM emerged from bankruptcy later that year under the ownership of its creditors of Spyglass Entertainment. Things were never made great again, and after the studio's departure in 2020, the studio looked to be acquired by another company in order to pay its creditors. Two subsidiaries are in charge of the entertainment business for Amazon: Amazon Studios and Amazon Prime. The former controls the manufacturing, the latter the distribution. As for operations, not only does Amazon practice in online streaming, but also traditional theater distribution as well. So, let's explain the merger of MGM from these two separate sectors. For online streaming, Amazon Prime has remained as the second largest streaming platform. There is after Netflix. Amazon has landed hits in film and television programming, including The Big Sick and Manchester by the Sea, which later being the winner of the 2017 Academy Awards for Best Original Screenplay, as well as series like The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, The Transparent, more apparently producing jaw-dropping shows like The Boys, Good Omens, The Man in the High Castle, just to name a few. And thanks to the pandemic, the demand for streaming has increased dramatically from 38.56 billion in 2018 to $372.2 billion in 2001, and it is projected to soar from US dollar 470.39 billion in 2022 to 1,690 billion by 2029. Amazon is closing through the market with ease so far. However, with the rise of Disney Plus and Apple TV in recent years, Amazon Prime has been looking for an avenue of organic growth. An MGM acquisition fits perfectly into the objective, providing a database of movies and libraries under their name. Movie theaters owned or in cooperation with Amazon or other production companies like Paramount or Warner Brothers have a 45-day exclusive theatrical window if it weren't go directly to platform. This was to either abide by current contracts with cinema chains or to banter to cinema-goers, since the streaming market isn't fully developed yet. This 45-day window also seems necessary in order to build momentum for an eventual streaming release. In the top 10 highest grossing films, more than half of them are film franchises and established IPs. And since Amazon only entered the entertainment business recently, they do not hold well-known or widely accepted film IPs, unlike many of its fierce competitors of Paramount, HBO, and Disney, with its own merger with Fox. Just as it happens, iconic film studio MGM, the mastermind behind the renowned James Bond and Rocky movies, is on sale. The merger is an industry-shifting move by Amazon in every conceivable avenue. On the plus side, in the US, people often buy Prime Video memberships with Amazon Prime, a premium status for online shopping, in a bundle, creating a loyal customer base. Moreover, they could not only put their names on drones, but on movies as well now. With the unlimited funds from Amazon and experienced management and catalog of MGM combined, it's a brute force to be reckoned with. So watch out, Netflix and Disney. Amazon is coming with vengeance. Next up, moving to the actual acquisition process. To my knowledge and extensive research, Amazon has not presented any tender offer. However, MGM was looking for potential buyers. On December of 2020, MGM began to explore a potential sale of the studio. With the COVID-19 pandemic and the domination of streaming platforms due to the closure of movie theaters as a contributing factor, MGM have to succeed under these dire conditions. The company hired Morgan Stanley, the go-to acquisition investment bank, and Lion Tree Advisors to handle the process on behalf of the studio. On May 17, 2021, online retail and technology company Amazon entered the negotiations to acquire the studio. The negotiations were made directly with MGM board chairman of Kevin Uren, whose Anchorage Capital Group is a major shareholder. For Amazon, the deal is said to be orchestrated by Mike Hopkins, Senior Vice President of Amazon Studios and Prime Video. The deal went smooth with no hurdles on the way. On May 26, 2021, it was officially announced that MGM will be acquired by Amazon for $4.45 billion, subject to regulatory approvals and other routine closing conditions, with the studio continuing to operate as a label under Amazon's existing content arm, complementing Amazon Studio and Amazon Prime Video. The deal of this sort couldn't dodge eyes of Ferris Bride, I'm afraid, for there are antitrust laws enforced by government agencies, but it's not up to Congress to give the green light to merger, but the Justice Department and perhaps the Federal Trade Commission, and they seem to be on edge. A month after the deal was announced, Biden named Lina Khan to lead the FTC, putting a fierce critic of Amazon in charge of the agency. Khan rose to prominence in the antitrust world with a 2017 paper she wrote as a law student about Amazon's dominance, titled Amazon's Antitrust Paradox. It traced how the online retailer came to control key infrastructures of digital economy and how traditional antitrust analysis fails to consider the danger to competition posed by the company. Biden administration's FTC has become increasingly aggressive in challenging deals across sectors, and Lina Khan is a devoted advocate. So for the time being, it may not sell high win like Disney-Fox merger, since it was done under right-wing administration. The Writers Guild have supported Amazon's decision. In August, 34 groups from the Writers Guild of America West to Public Citizen appealed to the FTC to block the requirement with an open letter. The letter said, "It's not simply a one-off deal for streaming content, and it's the latest move in Amazon's overreaching strategy to create numerous interconnected points of dominance over business and consumers." On March 15, 2022, Amazon secured an unconditional European Union antitrust approval for its proposed acquisition of MGM. The clearance by EU, which says studios' content cannot be considered as a must-have. The companies are primarily active in different parts of the AV content value chain, and where both parties are active, to command market shares are low, which unconditionally approved Amazon's proposed acquisition of MGM, in part because MGM's content cannot be considered as a must-have. The FTC has lacked a Democratic majority on the 5-person commission since October. It has been a 2-2 tied to the suing of Amazon's antitrust behavior, and solid government opposition in the Senate has blocked confirmation of President Biden's nominee to fill the FTC's vacant seat. Hence, on March 11, 2022, Amazon announced the closing of the deal.
Next, I've been talking about the SWOT analysis after the acquisitions. Start with the strength. The first strength of the acquisition is that having their own film production company. Now, in this media sector, Amazon has achieved an important progress ahead of its 4 major competitors of Apple, Alphabet, Microsoft, and Facebook. Owning its own film production company will be a great advertising opportunity for Amazon. For the reason that Amazon's own video streaming service, Prime Video, now has another reason for attracting new members to pay, so that they can watch the MGM's works on Prime Video. Since by generating more subscription members to its platform will increase its reach, thereby improving brand awareness and advertising reach is their biggest advantage out of the acquisition. We can definitely see the great progress of Amazon in the video streaming service field. And the second strand is more resources and talents related to film industry. The transaction grow Amazon's entertainment business more aggressively to better compete against Netflix and other competitors. MGM also has some additional production companies, studios, lots, and another assets that Amazon could either utilize or rebrand. This gives them an opportunity to acquire talent that has a better expertise at creating movies and hits, said Brian Yarbrough, a consumer research analyst at Edward Jones. The transaction can be used to strengthen Amazon's advertising business, such as the use of advertising to maintain the operation of IMDb service. According to eMarketer's market survey in 2020, Amazon is already the third largest digital advertising vendor in North America, with a market share of 10%, third only to Google's 28.9% and Facebook's 25.2%. With a bigger number of people can see the advertisement, they can make more profit. And the two weakness. One of the weakness that got improved is improving the lack of famous IP and feature films, but not the fix. This deal also expands Amazon's films and TV library by thousands of titles. While Amazon spent heavily in the last decade to make new shows and films, Amazon still doesn't truly own a lot of library titles. In terms of feature films, Amazon doesn't really allow big budget films and shows. But now, with the acquisition of MGM Studio, the problem can be solved. And the third one, opportunity. The first opportunity they have is the more sponsors and fans. With the acquisitions of MGM, Prime Video now grow its membership base, which can help Amazon to draw more attention from the sponsors and allocate more funds. And the second opportunity is lower the price of subscription. As what I mentioned above, since Prime Video can draw more funds, it gives Amazon more space to lower their price of subscription to engage more customers. And the last opportunities they have after the case is the emerging markets. Prime Video now grow its membership base so that it can serve more people. While the current trend is online streaming, consumers tend to watch videos on streaming video platform. Prime Video sees a huge opportunity to grow its customer base. Prime Video is popular in the United States. It should explore to expanding the other countries for the emerging markets to make more profit. And the last one for the SWOT analysis is threat. The first threat after the case is that they still under the pressure of competitors. Even though Amazon acquired MGM Studio, increased number of competitors is still a big threat for Amazon Prime Video. New streaming services have entered the market. putting Prime Video under the pressure and increasing its competitors. In terms of the number of subscribers, Amazon is the world's second largest paid video media service company, only second to the 207 million subscribers of 146.1 million of Netflix. It also has some other competitors like Z5, Sony Live, Disney Plus, and other competitors. And the second threat is the legal regulations. The technology sector is always highly related to the rules and legal challenges. Few countries have blocked Prime Video service, which will affect its subscribers and growth potential. Amazon Prime Video faces many rules and legal regulations nowadays. Analysis after the case. Just start with the political. That until now, the government has not put any concrete policies into practice to affect the acquisition. In my opinion, there will be some impact on current U.S. ruling party, which the confidence of some of the voters to the government might not be as firm as before. And the second one is economical. The deal of this sort will lead the market of streaming video to be more monopoly. It means that the choices for the consumers will be less, and the suppliers can bring the price to the higher level. And the third one is social. The acquisition will monopolize people's perspectives to the films, which will affect the trend of the streaming video market in the future greatly. And the last one, technological. Unfortunately, I don't see any noticeable differences after the case in terms of the technology. And that's the end of my part.
The left, I want to talk about the conclusion. I want to share two articles about how Amazon and news media think to this acquisition. This Amazon's article says that both of them are content about this acquisition. Amazon Prime Video now have the exclusive content of movies and TV shows made by MGM compared to Netflix and other streaming platforms. MGM will not lose any one of their staffs, and they can have sufficient funds to make their movies and TV shows. These are a match for heaven for them both. This article before the acquisition says that maybe the Amazon stock will have a huge change because they acquire MGM. They think it is a good acquisition and it will be beneficial in the future. MGM's stock at before was 84.5, but after that it came to 138. This rose very quickly because Amazon planned the MGM acquisition. Now their stock is 131. It didn't change a lot after the merge. But in the actual sense, the Prime Video's market share still can beat Netflix, and they can still have the competitive pressure from Disney Plus and HBO breathing down their neck because the contents are still not popular enough to surpass the new gen drama made by Netflix. The brand is not well known to young people compared to Netflix too. We can derive from these two pictures we just saw. A survey that determines users' preference across streaming platforms, showing that the most popular streaming platform is Netflix, then is Amazon's Prime Video, and Disney Plus ranked third in 2021, and HBO in 2022. I suppose that in 2021, the COVID-19 caused many people have to work at home. Before subscribing, people may expect that they will spend more time at home, so in the end, they choose to subscribe to these streaming platforms, even though picture shows that the first choice to them is Netflix 30%, then is Prime Video 20%. But in 2020, after the influence of COVID-19 is over, people can go outside and return to the work and school. They don't have that much free time left watch movies at home, so they choose to cancel the subscription after that. As a consequence, the top platform is Netflix at 23%, then it's Prime Video at 90%. As data mentioned above, we can know that if Amazon and MGM wish to win Netflix, they have to work harder to make more movies with popular and famous IPs, sequels, or subgenres, such like James Bond, which only can be made by MGM. We can say that in the movie industry, MGM is good enough to call themselves one of the best movie maker. Movies that made after the acquisition are still well sold in the traditional theater. It seems that movies' quality wasn't influenced by Amazon. They are currently producing new movies like Samaritan, Dark Harvest, famous IP like Creed 3, and Tomb Raider Obsidian. Now they have time to work together to make more famous movies to attract more visitors and Prime Video users come to their movie kingdom. We provide some solution to make some changes and improvements to Amazon and MGM after the acquisition using SWOT analysis. First, about their strengths. They already host lots of famous IP of MGM. This is an important step to resolve their weakness. They have to make their own original and brand new IPs together to defeat Netflix original dramas or movies. If MGM can have such this famous IP, they can do it again. From opportunity, we can see they have more funds and sponsors for their movies. They must use it properly to make the Prime Video service cheaper to attract new users from everywhere. The most recent problem is that they still have a pressure from new competitors, so they need exclusive content and new popular IP. The legal regulations have to be soft. It's really hard for Amazon. Some countries block the service from Prime Video. This will affect their growth potential, so they need to make those countries willing to agree their service can be used in domestic. The solution is to rise or down the price to meet their own same service price, lower the possibility of monopoly.
I'm going to ask two questions. The first question being, do you think Amazon would acquire more entertainment firms? This question is directed to Hong Chen Han. Thank you for responding. Question two, do you think Prime Video will beat Netflix? Why or why not? This question is directed to Ke Yixuan. Thank you everyone for listening.